It's cute because while I was watching some Christian VHS tapes that I own now, I bought from the library for like 50 cents or no, $1 each. But I'm so glad I bought them. I have like 20 of them now total because I had some previously too. But they're like the same animated Christian Bible stories that I grew up with, even when I went to church as a child. So I'm like, it's so adorable. And it made me remember that when I was younger, that when I went to VLC Church, Victory Life Center Church on Carpenter Road in Modesto, California, that's like my main church that I grew up in, and it's still there to this day. I just haven't been there in a while. But I just remembered that when I went there when I was church when I was little, it was so cool because for the kids, we had like a barn. They had like a barn, and they had windows, and out like the windows would open, and like they would do puppets, and they would do like a Bible story, and they would say scriptures. You know, there would be like a storyline to it, and then they would say scriptures, and then like every week, every Sunday morning, usually, yeah, every Sunday morning. There's night service too, but usually Sunday morning was, you know, the funner class, you know, in the kid class, because I still had kid class at nighttime, but usually that was just more of we were reading the Bible, which is of course great and good. But you know, when I was little, you think that the puppets were like the awesomest thing ever. Like I remember, I thought it was even more and better better than going to school because I loved it so much because I loved God and I loved learning, and I just loved the puppets because the barn was super cool how they made it, and it looks like an actual barn door. So it looks like the door, but it was like the whole wall, and they would just open the windows and the puppets would come out, and I just remembered that. I was like, I forgot all about that and how cute it'd be. And then they would each be doing a puppet, or they would close that window, and then another puppet would come out, and they would just like have a storyline and Bible verses and encourage each other, you know, the puppets, like. And then us kids would just be sitting on the floor just all watching and listening and learning, and it was like the best thing ever. I was like, how cute. I have the cutest childhood of being in church, growing up Christian, and I loved when I was little, the cute little class I went to was adorable. I just remember that it was so cute. I loved it so much. And I was thinking to myself, I was like, oh yeah, if Ronnie was little and he went to me with church and we're the same age, just friends, of course, because we would have been little, like he would have totally loved it too. I was like, oh, you gotta admit, you know, even if people grow up atheists and whatnot, and when you're a kid, you're just like anything and everything. It was just super cool. Like it was just, you would like it as a child because it's like who wouldn't like puppets as a child and learning. And then when you remember Bible verses every Sunday, you would come back the next Sunday, and if you remember Bible verses from the previous Sunday, they would give you like free candy, like but good candy, like candy bars and stuff. So we would all remember scriptures. There's barely any of us that wouldn't, because I'd be like, I would remember my scriptures. They would give us a colored paper with like animated characters, and it'd be a verse every Sunday that they would give us before we left Sunday morning service for the children's group. And it was so cool, and I would remember them because I'd be like, I want that candy. But most of all, I did love God and learning, and memorizing things has always been hard for me because I have hyper disorder, so I get distracted easy, and then remembering things, I could like somebody could tell me to go get milk and cheese in the store, and then I'll walk in the store for a second and be like, I forgot what I came here for a second. Once in a while, not all the time, but it's so funny. But that is the cutest memory. I was just remembering that. I loved it. And then the older I got at the same church, that, you know, I wasn't in that class anymore because, you know, I grew up, so I had to be in another class. And so I was in dance class, which was so awesome. We did like Christian skits and like dances. We would play like Christian rap music or Christian like choir music. We would do a bunch of different little things, and then we would perform in front of the church. It was like the cutest thing. So I'd be like, love the dance moves. I always loved dance groups ever since I was little. I always loved dancing. I actually wanted to really get into dancing. Like I actually really wanted to get into acting in my life in Hollywood, but you know, my life didn't go that way. But that's actually really something I was always in love with. Like I love dance group movies most of the time. Like Bring It On, I grew up with, but totally inappropriate. It has inappropriate parts, but I loved it. The dancing part, I love dancing. Like any kind of dancing movie, I'm like, oh, it was like my dream. And then I did it in church, which was so awesome. But we did it for like Jesus dances, you know, appropriate dances, of course. But it'd be so cool. It'd be like, woo! It was like the awesomest thing ever. So that was even fun. So when the older you got, it was even still fun. And I was like, yeah. So I was like 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 in that church, and at 13 we went to a different church, but for a little bit because we ended up moving, because we moved a lot, like in Modesto, California a lot. But yeah, I was like remembering those cutest memories ever in church, growing up as a church kid. Ever since I was little, I was in Victory Life Center, the same church that I'm talking about. That's when I actually walked up to my pastor, Jerry Colin, and that's actually how I got saved. You know, that's when I wanted to accept the Lord on my own terms. Like my parent, no adult asked me, no, or forced me. I wanted to do it on my own because I knew there was something greater in this world than us humans. I'm like, something created this beautiful earth, the nature, all the animals, all the humans in it. I just knew as a kid, and to this day I'm like, I still believe that's true. And now that I'm an adult, you know, you slip more with sin, and I make mistakes. I cuss sometimes on accident, I sin, and you know, we're all sinners, and I just have to ask God to forgive me, and I try my best, and then I have anxiety attacks, and I'm like, I gotta trust in God more. So, you know, I'm not a perfect, you know, none of us are. I'm definitely not a perfect Christian, but definitely trying to learn and grow. I always just ask God to help me, because he's the only one that can do it and heal me and take away anxiety, take away cutting from me, and help me to encourage other people, because I don't really have a huge group of friends. Definitely not. And I don't even have a huge group of people that like me. Most people I meet in my life just don't like me, just in general. It's just not that I'm not a lovable person, because I'm like, I use my manners, of course. That's how I was raised by my mom. I'm very loving and kind. Like, you can wake me up at 3 in the morning if you're crying, and I'll be a good friend to you. But I have a few people that love me, which is great. But yeah, but you know, sinners stick with sinners, and just like goats stick with goats and sheep stick with sheep. So, you know, being Christian, I always knew that I was bunked out a lot of the time, but I got kind of used to it. But it's just life. Like, they didn't love Jesus when he was on the earth. You know, they totally rejected him and whatnot a lot of the time throughout his whole lifetime here too. So if he was, you know, and especially since he was crucified and they rejected him, then what more are we, that we are his children and we accepted him and love him, and he is God and Jesus and the Holy Spirit. So yeah. But yeah, that is like the cutest childhood memories. I gotta tell these to my children when I have my babies in the future. I'm 29 now, so Jesus knows I have my baby fever off and on. I'm just like, Jesus knows, the Lord knows when that's gonna happen, but you know, he knows I can't wait. It's like life goals, life dream, and give me the strength and patience and endurance. I'm praying for that now in easy labor. In Jesus' name, help us all, each woman that sees us, help us all, right? And me and my husband, that we would get along and Jesus be the center of it all. But yeah, it's the cutest memories. Those are such positive, great memories ever. I still love this church, that church to this day. Of course, it's like my church that I grew up in. Cutest memories. And then usually when I was older, when I would do the dancing class one, they would have games all over, like the old-fashioned games that, you know, you could stand and play. So I used to play one of my favorite games, Soul Calibur. It's like it could be a Japanese girl or a wrestling guy, and you could choose different characters and they would battle each other. So that was my favorite game. I tell Ronnie too, he tried to buy me that game, but he couldn't find it. But I love that game so much, because I would play that in church for free time. At least we would have free time for a little bit to play the games, and then we could buy snacks, which I usually got Jolly Ranchers, and they would sell candy bars. It was like the coolest thing ever. It was the coolest experience ever. It was fun. I love dance class. Yeah, it was so cute. It's just like amazing. But yeah. And then, I love Christian camp. Christian camps were the best time of my life. Like, my childhood, the main thing in my brain from my childhood is mostly Christian camps too, though. It's like the huge park, because I had so much fun. I love the wilderness. I love like big old trees. I don't think sequoia trees, but almost like sequoia trees, because I don't know how far I was in the mountains here in California, you know, and I was a kid, so I don't know where I was in the mountains, just somewhere. And Salvation Army Camp, which was Christian camp too. I had the funnest times, because I love nature. I seen a bear, which was probably a black bear, because they say brown bears haven't been here in forever in California, because everybody's hunting them and everybody kills all the animals all the time. Humans, tisk tisk. It's like Jesus said, hunting and fishing's okay, guys, but there's a point where it's like, okay, you're doing too much. Oh, but Yeah, I love the nature. I love sitting around a campfire and we would sing Christian songs. The best time ever. We would do skits and plays with like Christian plays. I was always a loner, kind of. I didn't have. I would try to talk to people, but people didn't even like me then in Christian camps. But two, I was super more shy than I am. I was always blank ever since I was a child, but at the same time shy. I'm a mixture of both, so it was weird. To this day, I'm still a mixture of both. Like, I could go to Applebee's and talk to anybody, because I'm just like, if someone's sitting next to me and then she's friendly or he's friendly, as two human beings, I could talk to people. But other times, I'm too shy to go ask something, like a simple question to other people, and I'm like, I don't know. It goes back and forth. It's weird. It's funny. But anyways, yeah, I thank the Lord for being Christian. I pray my babies, my future children will Christian, my son or daughter, and my husband a Christian. It's so awesome. It's the cutest memories ever.